What in the world is that? I don't need you to talk to me and tell me recording is in progress, but I guess it is. Well, Adam and Paul here for Drive Thru Sports. We are back. This is a new Zoom experience, apparently. Now, it took us a little while. Now, it didn't take us 9 months to figure it out, but life does happen, and it's things get in the way, and it's kept us off the air and off of our podcast since March. Things getting back to normal now. It seems like things are going back the other way, and so Brees, we're on Christmas break right now, December 21st. What's been going on with you? We need to get everybody caught up.
Do we have time? That's the question.
We have all the time in the world. As you and I both know, we're not doing a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, that's right. Just a lot of work, a lot of school, a lot of sports, a lot of this, a lot of that. But
you are the AD, right?
I currently, yes.
Now, have you had to administer any COVID tests at the gate for your participants?
No COVID tests. No COVID tests.
Are you the mask police still?
I'm not the mask police. No, I resigned from that position.
All right. Well, there's one thing. We'll get to a lot of things tonight, but there's one thing that I got to get off my chest here right off the get-go. And I had originally my background tonight was originally the YouTubeTV logo. And I had it as the logo because I'm sitting there, I'm watching ESPN on Saturday, right? And on Friday night, I'm watching ESPN, and I'm up late all the time. And so I guess it's around midnight, maybe. All of a sudden, ESPN's gone. Like, it's gone. Like, in the middle, it's like the game or whatever I was watching. Boom, gone. I was like, what is going on? And then I get up the next morning, Saturday morning. There's no like no game day, none of that. It's not even on my list of channels. So I start getting on the internet, whatever. And so it turns out that YouTube and Disney and its conglomerates got in a little tiff about their contract expired on the 17th of midnight. And I guess they didn't reach an agreement. And so Disney pulled, or Disney pulled all their stuff off of YouTube TV. So if you had YouTube TV, you couldn't get Disney, you couldn't get ESPN or any of its networks, and you couldn't get ABC.
I'm having trouble hearing
you. You need to be quiet. Smartphones are ruining life, and you know it. And I was like, what is going on? So then all of a sudden I get home yesterday, boom, everything's back. So I guess they kissed and made up over the weekend. I don't know. But I do know this, that YouTube went from $65 a month to $50 overnight.
Really?
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good for me. That's good for me. That's what it started as, and then they raised it. So now they're back to whatever, because I guess they lost a bunch of people who were like, forget it, I'll just get the Disney Hulu bundle and be done with it. Now, see, I waited it out. I was patient, which is normally not my MO. And maybe because I was out of town all weekend. So anyway, that was that. But, we did get up to Tennessee this weekend. Went to Murfreesboro, saw my sister and nephews and my grandmother and my mom and dad, and had Christmas up there. And that was a lot of fun. And so came back yesterday and got back. And so we've done that. We've got to go to my in-laws on Friday night. So and then get ready for Christmas here. So you guys traveling at all? I know you did some traveling this weekend.
Yeah, we went and visited my dad, and just got word that he fell and broke his ankle. So,
whoa,
just another, just another thing to put on my calendar, things to do.
Yeah.
So, listen, this kind of, my wife and I kind of laughed about this, and maybe you'll get a chuckle out of it. The older we get and we sit down with our families, some of the older generation. And what are normally the stories that we're discussing, right? We haven't seen each other in a while, and we're catching up, and all of a sudden, the majority of the conversations are about death, people that have cancer, people that
that
are
have
in
just
the hospital.
Died.
And, you know, and I'm sitting here eating a meal, and we're talking about open heart surgeries and just possible other unfortunate, you know, not so appealing dinner topics. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this now taking over my life, that I've now had to rely on? You know, I've crossed the threshold of that age where I'm now going to be talking about my friends that are having health ailments or other things like that. There's no turning back for us, Adam. We are there.
No, we're there. I mean, I'm a participant in that whole scenario right now. And for those of you guys that don't know, I had Achilles tendon repair surgery about 6 weeks ago. Tore my Achilles, ruptured it completely. Doing something I've been doing all my life, playing basketball. And got out there at age 49 at the time, and it was November 1st, so I'd not turned 50 yet. I was about 3 weeks shy. Got out there, thought I was 18 again, down at the SAC at Lipscomb. Could just roll out there and start hitting threes and running up down the floor, and got the first shot of the game, Brees, right off the tip. Go down there, guy gets the tip, passes it to me. I kick it to the corner. I go to the low block. He kicks it back to me. I shoot a little floater in the lane. And when I shoot it, I'm like, I tried to jump. Why didn't I go off the ground that much? And then when I landed, boom, it felt like somebody stepped on the back of my leg. I walked straight off the court, barely. And, you know, and with my athletic training background, I was like, oh no, this did not just happen. And it did. So I was in the operating room 3 days later, and I'm sitting here right now doing this show with my compression sock on, with my geriatric compression sock on, and my foot elevated and the whole 9 yards. And I had physical therapy today. So it's like, when you talk about we're getting older, I am like the poster child right now for getting older. And I'm also watching the Washington football team answer that field goal with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion.
Well, you know, there are also topics of conversation, you know, with your parents or other things that, and you know, because you can't say, how are your friends? Because, you know, or what have you been doing? Right. Because somebody's died. Okay. You know, and then you got to go into this. Do you remember who this person is? Do you remember? You know, not really, but you want to just shake your head and say, yeah. So, you know, we're at the point where the conversations are minimal. And now we're barreling down into a smaller category of church. For my dad is like the biggest topic of conversation. Like that's his one thing, right? He talks about his church, which is fantastic, right? But that's his, you know, that's his regimented weekly thing. And, you know, when we go visit him, what do? Hop in the car. When we go eat, what do? We take a drive by that by his church. You know, seen it a bunch.
Yeah,
but
nothing wrong. That's the socialization aspect of it. Like,
yeah, and
we
you know, and it was funny because I actually was in the car today with my 14-year-old, and drove through Brenthaven, and I pointed out, hey, this is the house I grew up in. He's got no interest in that. Got no interest in that. Then I flipped the script and thinking, am I becoming my dad? Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Unfortunately, I'm showing him things. He doesn't care. Oh yeah, that's cool. Now he gets
Yeah.
back on his
So,
phone, watches
yeah.
Mr. Beast, and it's over.
Yeah, it's over. You lose him. You lose him. Yeah. I mean, we were just went to see my grandmother, went to see her at about 1 o'clock Sunday, went over to her house and she's 91, just got back from church. Only place that really she goes shopping and, somebody takes her to the grocery store and then she goes to church. And, that's becoming, what it is. And, being laid up since like November 1st, pretty much. And the only place I was going to was the hospital for surgery and doctors. And, I give Leslie a lot of credit. She's like, come on, we need to get you out of the house. We get you out of the house. And I would fight it. Just because being on crutches, like it's not fun, like going anywhere. Like, man, heaven forbid you go to Walmart, because you can't get a scooter at Walmart because all the overweight people have all the scooters. They just grab them. And so I'm sitting there, on my little, I had a manual scooter, one of those little deals. And you can only be on that thing so long, dude. I mean, 20 minutes, that's about max. I had my cast on, my cast is digging into my leg, I'm like, and I told Leslie, I said, I got to go find a seat or something. So I go, and now I'm the old guy. I'm the old guy at the front of Walmart sitting on the bench, waiting on his wife to finish shopping. That was me that day, and so I totally get where you're coming from. But again, that's kind of getting everybody caught up on what's going on in our lives. But in the world of sports, a lot more going on than was going on the last time that we talked. It was March Madness, I think, was just beginning. Back when we did our last show, and now we've got, I mean, heck, the Braves have won a world title, which is crazy. I actually got to go to game 2 of the NLCS, where they hit the walk-off, one of their walk-off wins. And I was with my buddies, and it was kind of one of those deals where, he hit the walk-off and I was sitting down. Everybody was standing up. I was sitting down. I was like, all right, guys, time to go. I was like, I'm not sitting around and listening to all these Braves fans. It's time to go. So
That's funny.
They kind of made fun of me for that, but they've.
Oh, there you go. Just another example of how you're getting old. We got to beat the traffic.
Yeah, I got to get the look. I'm not sitting in that traffic. I'm not getting pinned in that parking garage. If you go to a Braves game, you get stuck in the parking garage. I went to a concert. I went to a concert there in 2019. Zach Brown. And we left because they have a noise ordinance there. It's like 11 o'clock. Like if they have concerts, they can't go past 11. So we left at 11, walked to the car, which was just right across the street, but we were in the second level of the parking garage. Got in the car at 11:20, got home at 1:45.
Oh gosh.
So if I go to a Braves game, I'm leaving. They do the 50-50 raffle the middle of the 8th. Okay. Once I see that I've not won the 50-50 raffle, I'm going.
You got a big box.
So that's what I do. But we've got football on a Tuesday night going on here. And getting to the end of this weird new 17-game season. I guess that's not really good if you're a Titans fan, because that's just more games that they can lose by one possession and get knocked out of the playoffs. I mean, they were 9-4, now they're 9-5, and not really playing that good. What's the general up there? I mean, obviously the running back situation is by committee and hasn't been terrible. What I'm getting down here is that Tannehill, he's got no receivers because you picked up Julio Jones, who plays about 1 out of every 4 games. I told you that was going to be the case with him. And AJ Brown's out. So what is the feeling up there as far as if they're going to win? They need to win probably 2 out of 3 to ensure that they get in. What's the deal?
Well, the majority of the offense is based around the play action, right? That's where Tannehill succeeds and gives him a little more time. And without Derrick Henry there's really not a cell defensively a sellout to stop the run. And so with being able to sit back in coverage, you know, a lot of the deep stuff is not there, even if AJ Brown's in the game or not. Or you know, if Julio is not really making a difference, like you said. But the play action is the key for a Ryan Tannehill type quarterback, because he just, you know, he's very limited, right? What you give with Ryan Tannehill, you know, the Titans have formulated a plan around his strengths, and his weakness is, you know, sometimes he gives it to the wrong team.
Yeah, he does turn the ball over quite a bit, and that's really plagued them probably the last 3 games, really. And the officials didn't help him out in the Pittsburgh game really at all. There was a couple questionable calls there that kind of opened things up for Pittsburgh to allow them to continue drives, which should have gotten them off the field. But NFL, give me right now. I mean, with the light of like some of the upsets this past week, Cardinals getting embarrassed by the Lions, they got owned by the Lions. I mean, is it still Green Bay coming out? I mean, that's what it looks like to me. They got 2 running backs that are excellent, and then they got Aaron Rodgers, and they got I said Darvin Adams. They got Devontae Adams. I mean, I don't know. And if they're the 1 seed, you got to go up there in January. Shoot, man, that's tough for anybody. I mean, I think they can probably get to the Super Bowl from the NFC. Now the AFC, I mean, it's wide open really with the Patriots getting beat. I mean, the Colts are for real, man. Colts are good. Surprised that Tennessee was able to. They did beat them like on the last second.
Well, the schedule gods came at the right time for the Titans to play the Colts. But yeah, the Colts are the team you don't want to play now, right?
Oh no.
So, but conspiracy theorists, NFL, maybe predetermined, Packers, Patriots. Listen, don't be surprised if that takes place.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really nobody else has really emerged. I mean, Patriots won 7 in a row before they got beat the other day. But you know, Buffalo, we're not sure. I mean, not sure who they are. Like, I got Josh Allen's my fantasy quarterback, and he had a great game 2 games ago, which helped me get into my fantasy playoffs as the 2 seed. So I had a bye week this week, and in the bye week, I keep losing my tight end. I have 0 running backs because Derrick Henry was my number 1 draft choice. He's been gone, so I've been piecemealing it together pretty much all year, and so we'll see what happens next week when I play whoever it is that I have to play. But you know, Buffalo is one of those teams where, man, they can be really good and then they can just be off, and they can lose to anybody. And you know, it's one of the things that gets talked about. You know, not who can you beat, but you know, who are you capable of losing to? And if Arizona is proving that they are capable of losing to Detroit, well, they can definitely lose to San Francisco, you know, or somebody in the first round at home even. So I don't know that they've proven a whole lot to get me on their bandwagon. I still think it's Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. The AFC, golly, I mean, you don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to be playing. They've lost a couple of tough games. They're down at the wire. I mean, I think it's just going to, once they get the playoff seeding and everything, maybe we'll know more when the matchups come. But I think right now, at least here in my neck of the woods, they ain't talking NFL. They're talking, Falcons. Nobody gives a rip about the Falcons. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions came in here and beat the Falcons on Sunday, because the Falcons have not won a home game all year. Now, again, they won in London, which was technically a home game, but they have not won in the Dome this year. So I wouldn't be surprised, Lions coming off that win, they beat the Falcons. It's not like the Falcons in the past have blown them out with bad teams that the Lions have put on the field. So, that's my upset of the week, if you could call it that. But people here talking college football playoff, they're talking dogs. They're saying the dogs are on top, which I don't know. What do you think of the semifinal matchups? Alabama, Cincy, Georgia, Michigan.
Well, unfortunately, let's talk the obvious first. Alabama, the heavy favorite, 2-touchdown favorite. Nick Saban's not going to have them lose. Nick Saban is going to have them ready. Nick Saban is going to blow Cincinnati out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a month to prepare for them.
That's a no-brainer.
I'm sorry. It's just, and yeah, I mean, that's going to be, it could get ugly. I think it really could. I mean, I did not see them beating Georgia the way they did. I just didn't see it at all. I know it surprised a lot of people. I mean, they put up 41 points on them.
Yeah.
And that's just, oh man, that's unheard of.
So let's flip to Georgia, Michigan, right? I mean, obviously, I'd be crazy in past years to say there's no way a Big Ten team is going to beat an SEC team. I've been heavily impressed with Michigan in the way they've done things the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Jim Harbaugh, not one of my favorite people, but I've got to think, man, Michigan's defense is really good, even better than Alabama's possibly. What quarterback is going to start for Georgia? Who's going to show up? To me, that plays effect of what's going on. I'd like to hear what you think is the scuttle down there.
Well, I'll tell you this. Rick Kirby is playing it close to the vest. He's not saying he's saying the right things. He's saying that everybody looks good in practice. I mean, he mentioned all 4 quarterbacks looked good in practice, and the other 2 hadn't even sniffed the field. And he's saying that all 4 look good. But I'm telling you right now, Stetson Bennett is starting that game. Okay. JT Daniels is not starting that game because it's same situation with Alabama, sort of with Michigan. JT Daniels is a statue back there. Hutchinson from Michigan, if JT Daniels starts that game, he'll have 4 sacks. He's that good, and Daniels is just not mobile. Bennett at least can get out of the pocket and scramble for some, and pick up a first down here or there to keep a drive going. The big thing is the defense for Georgia. If they can play to the level they did before the Alabama games, the whole season basically, and shut everybody down. The problem is they were playing from way ahead, like most games, so they could pretty much pin their ears back and do whatever and take chances, and they were never really challenged until Alabama hit them in the mouth. And it looked like some of their guys took plays off. It looked like they were unprepared. You would like to hope that they will be prepared this time, and I think they will. But the quarterback situation, Stetson Bennett, I mean, he's riding with this guy all the way. And I don't think you're going to see anything different there. The only thing that I would say might change is you might see them target George Pickens a little bit more. I think he only had 4 targets in the Alabama game, 2 receptions. Excuse me. But look for that. But again, they got a great running game. They got 3 backs that can rotate in and out. They got James Cook out of the backfield. That's really good as well. That's going to be your better game, obviously, which I think everybody is realizing that now. But I mean, Michigan does they do a 2 quarterback system up there.
Well,
so
I mean, in theory, right? Let's if we went through Georgia's schedule, right? And we're thinking, man, it's a competitive schedule. You know, they opened up with Clemson, right? What did we learn about Clemson? Not that
good.
Not the Clemson of old.
No.
Then they played at the time #8 Arkansas. Hey, do we think Arkansas may have been a beneficiary of a hot start? Probably.
Yeah.
And that game was played at Georgia.
37.
Then they go and play Auburn.
Yeah.
You know, still
again,
not a world beater.
No.
And then they played Kentucky. I know, may or may not want to hear this, but still not an upper echelon-esque type SEC, you know,
No.
Florida down.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
Missouri down. You know, Tennessee was, you know, surprisingly better than, but they're not at that level.
No.
Then they Charleston Southern, Georgia Tech. Alabama was their true one test, it seemed like, for the season.
And they
like, here's your legitimate contender. Here's your game, and they just rolled over.
Yeah, and that's something that has bothered a lot of Georgia fans, because they were always pointing to, well, look what we did to Arkansas, and Alabama only beat them by 7, and we beat them by 37. Look what we did to Missouri and this, that. Look what we did to Florida, and y'all only barely beat them by 2. Alabama, you know, they were doing that all the way up until the SEC championship game. And then that game happened, and it was like, ooh, okay, maybe those teams weren't what we thought they were when we played them. But, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, Georgia, you know, they had a road speed bump. That was a speed bump. It was Alabama. Can they recover mentally from it? You know, pretty much knowing if they beat Michigan, they got Alabama again. You know, but will they look past Michigan, be like, we got to get to you know, we want to play, you know, we want to get revenge for that game or whatever. They better not look past Michigan, because Michigan can run the ball. And again, Harbaugh, not my favorite guy either, but he got over his own sort of curse, the Ohio State beating Ohio. If you go back and watch the film on that game, they beat them down. I mean, it wasn't, I mean, physically, they controlled the game the whole way. And if they do that, if they come out there and hit Georgia in the mouth, you know, what are they going to do? Are they going to do what they did against Alabama? I mean, they were up 10-0, you know, and I think everybody was like, okay, you know, this is what we thought it was going to be, you know, Georgia defense holding them down, and you know, us kind of methodically going up and down the field, and all of a sudden it's like boom, just explosion. You had the interceptions in the red zone by Bennett trying to make plays, you know, trying to cash checks, you know, write checks his body couldn't cash. And I think that's what the Georgia fans secretly are a little bit scared of, is if you have to have Bennett win the game, can he do it? Because honestly, they've been, like I said, they've been so far ahead in these games, he hasn't really had to make plays. See, Alabama forced him to make plays, and he didn't do it. But to a fault, I think Kirby's going to stick with him. And if they lose to Michigan, he's going to have some questions to answer. But another thing, too, I think JT Daniels may be gone. Now, I don't know if he can transfer twice. I don't think he can. I don't know. I don't think, but I know Bennett's coming back next year. You know, so I mean, we may have the same situation next year. So who knows? But getting back to the Kentucky-Georgia matchup, you know, you had a Kentucky team that was 6-0. Okay, but I watched all 6 of those games, with a couple of exceptions. I mean, they almost lost to UT Chattanooga. Like, they had to come back in that game, and it took an interception by Kentucky to start the game-winning drive to win 28-23 against UT Chattanooga. They had 5 turnovers. Everybody talks about all their turnovers. They kind of turned it around. The Tennessee game should have killed Tennessee. Turned it over 4 times. Mississippi State lost by 2 touchdowns. Turned it over 5 times. You just can't do that. Like, you know, I look back. Yeah, they're 9-3, but they should have been at least 10-2. I mean, they shouldn't have lost the Tennessee game. I know you don't believe that, but two big plays. I think they ran 93 plays in that game. Kentucky did. They should have won that game, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And they couldn't close it out because they turned the ball over. So I think the keys to these games are going to be, can Stetson Bennett can he manage the game? And can the defense put them in a position where that's all he has to do? If that's the case, Georgia wins. And I think we both agree that Alabama's going to win.
Yeah. Well, my last statement on this Georgia game is this: Georgia needs to put Michigan behind the 8 ball, make it a second and long, third and long. I work with a lot of Michigan fans, and they tell me we can't throw the ball. All we can do is run. So that is their biggest concern is don't put us in a bad second down. Don't put us in a horrible third down situation. We'll never be able to convert, but we're going to blue collar you and try to smash it down your throat, try to stop us. And I do think Georgia does have the D line to do that, and to hold their end of the bargain up concerning the run game. So it will be interesting. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited not to have to go to work the next day.
and listen to those Michigan people.
And listen to this. The enjoyment of being a teacher during Christmas break is fantastic, but one of the toughest things to do is try to figure out what day it is. Because once you get thrown off your schedule for a couple of days, I did not realize it was a Tuesday until like noon.
I know it. Yep. Exactly what you're talking about.
So
well, I'm glad we were able to do this. Again, it's been a long time coming, and I hope to get some more episodes out for you guys. Again, you guys can follow us on Twitter at Drive Sports. And always some interesting tweets there. But any last words for tonight's episode, Brees?
And just everybody, watch a lot of football. It's good times.
Yes. Unfortunately, if you're listening to this episode, the Boca Raton Bowl has already been played. It's no longer available. You can catch it on many streaming services if you want to rewatch it at any time. Also, I think the Idaho Potato Bowl has also been played, so you'll have to look for that on ESPN Plus. All right, so for Paul Brees, Adam Freeman, thanks for listening. You've been listening to Drive Thru Sports with Adam and Paul.